Okay, it's people cheating on their gods is why I became a false prophet. Now, when you follow Abrahamic religions, you're told there's only one creator, one God. You shall have no other gods but him. Meaning, if you wish to use divine powers, you should use no other God but him. Okay? But these people cheat on their gods. That's why I became a false prophet. Yeah? So, people use my consciousness in a divine way. I've deduced that people use my consciousness in the past. They used to bring people back to life. There used to be instances where natural disaster would happen and it would say 1,000 people died. Then you can feel your power being touched, and next time you look, 800, 700, 300. They're using my consciousness in a divine way to bring people back to life or to reverse what the Almighty has made. Then there were people who use it to affect the future. They use it to see ahead of us into the future, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, a month, a year into the future, to know what's going to happen into the future, and then to come back and react to it before it happens. Again, you're using me in a divine way. There's also people who use my divine nature against me. They use my consciousness in a divine way to to mysteriously yeah, make myself ill in a nocebo, which is the opposite of placebo. There's people who's been using my consciousness in a divine way. When you do that, you're cheating on your deity. There is a famous false prophet in history. If you're a Christian, you know who I'm talking about. But now I see why he needed to become a prophet, a false prophet. Because I didn't ask anyone to use the power of my consciousness, but they are. I didn't ask anyone to do it, but they are. Yeah? They're using the power of my consciousness, yeah, to do miraculous things. I didn't ask for this. So he must have found himself being used in a divine way, and he had no choice. You have no choice. Once you notice that people are using you in a divine way, you have no choice. You have to become a false prophet. But you've got to know you're a false prophet. Yeah, although you're using me in a divine way, yeah, unless you know how to use my mind to create, I can't. And even if you did know how to use my mind to create, I can't do it. I'm not consciously aware of that. The only entity that can use my mind to create that I know of is the Almighty. I haven't I haven't heard of any or deduced that any of these human familiar spirits know how to use my mind to create. But I've experienced a moment where the Creator used my mind to create. An apparition that started off as something I was dreaming. When I opened my eyes, I was in sleep paralysis, and it jumped out. And it interacted with me where I felt an electrostatic shock. So it had become real. An apparition. So only the Almighty knows how to use my mind to create. These familiar spirits do not. But if they're using my mind in a divine way, I have to become a false prophet. Yeah? I am the power of the Almighty. Yeah? I don't subscribe to any of your deities. Yeah? When you use my divine powers, and I'm not part of your religion, you're cheating on your deity. You're cheating on your version of the Almighty. You're cheating on that. Use someone, if you're Muslim, use a Muslim. If you're Christian, use a Christian. If you're Jewish, use a Jew. Yeah? The Almighty gave all of them to you. Yeah? You have people you can use, but if you use my mind, and I don't subscribe to any of those religions, you're cheating on your religion. You're cheating on your Almighty. Then I'm a false prophet. I'm the false prophet because I'm not your Almighty. Yeah? But you're using me for divine powers. I'm the false prophet. You see? It's you cheating on your gods that turned me into a false prophet. So I have to become someone who manages how people use my divine power. Once you become aware of it, if you're a man of the Almighty, it's your responsibility to control how your divine power is used for the Almighty's sake. Where I don't allow anyone to use my divine power apart from the Almighty. Yeah? Where I become a false prophet when I don't even know it. Yeah? My aim is to stop people from using my divine powers. Okay? But the first stage, yeah, is to have them worshipping me. Then I can wean them off it. Because I will not stand for it. Only the Almighty, yeah, gets offered it. No. The Almighty will use his power, whatever creation he uses, that in it. He is what he is. But in terms of people who are sympathetic, empathetic to their religions, wanting to use my divine powers, yeah, and then they start to feel bad or object to me having my beliefs of the Almighty, yeah, you're using my divine powers against my will and you object to how I see the Almighty. Those are not people I want to use my divine powers. You have to worship me. And you have to believe in the Almighty the way I see the Almighty. Yeah? You have to believe in the Almighty the way I see the Almighty if you want to use my divine powers. Okay? See, I'm the power of the Almighty. Yeah? A power that you know is real if you're one of those people who uses it. Yeah? Which means you have to leave your silly religions, yeah, and believe in the Almighty the way I believe the Almighty to be. But that's my responsibility. All you know is I'm the power. If you're one of those people who know how to use that. And you worship me. Because I'm the only one who understands the Almighty. Yeah? I'm not interested in your definition of the Almighty. If you want that, stop using me and go to your religions. Yeah? Once, if we ever get into a war, yeah, because everything's becoming spiritualist now, yeah, and you know me as a power that's tried and tested that you can use, I'm the reason why it won't work. Because if you haven't worshipped me, it will not work. And I will make sure it doesn't. I'll be doing things in my mind to incapacitate myself to make sure it doesn't work. Unless you worship me. Yeah, and I worship the Almighty how I see fit. I'm his power.